enemy. You better watch out if your enemy's a road ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he goes me. And he gets caught real big, pissed off quick. And if you cross him, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the score. Never getting bored, loves of blood and gore. Always wanting more freedom from the source. They don't really listen until they feel it for the party. And if you start shit, you be hard-lived in the darkness. Torn apart quick, you left scars ripped. You be chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight.
What is this? What's happening?
No.
I gotta say, I could have called this one.
No.
Yeah.
Is it our fault?
It is not your fault.
Whose fault is it? Oh, fuck, I wanna fucking know.
Let's cut this shit. It is directly your fault. It is absolutely 150% your fault. Of course it's their fault. Let's grow up.
I'm going to throw up. I think I'm gonna throw
Don't
up.
throw up.
Come on.
Oh, this is ugly.
Hey guys.
This is not right.
All right, dipshits, right here.
Stop it.
1, 2, 3.
I know what my picture taking right now.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. That meme just wins the internet for me for the week. Welcome back to another show, everybody. We have a good show for you lined up for you today, if I can speak correctly. First, I wanted to apologize for yesterday. I was at the protest in Harrisburg due to an unforced error on my part, aka me being a tool who's not extremely good with tech. I accidentally streamed the protest on the wrong link, and as a result, YouTube wasn't pushing it out at all. So I ended up aborting mission and going over to TikTok, where I did have like 500 people watching on there. So we do appreciate that. We have a lot to talk about today. We also have a very special guest, which we'll get to here in a second. One, I want to say that yesterday was possibly the single largest, if not the single largest, coordinated nationwide protest in American history. And I am proud to say that there were so far no reported incidences of violence whatsoever. And they, oh man, I'll tell you what, Harrisburg, I went back to the state capital where I live, or not where I live, but I went back to my state capital. The last time I went to a protest here was just I think maybe a month and a half ago. There was maybe a few hundred people. And I think I have a video clip to show you guys just so you can see the crowd that turned out in a small city like Harrisburg. 2,000 to 3,000 people showed up this time. And it was a jovial event. I mean, it was something that I was very happy that I was able to be part of. There were some great speakers. I met a lot of amazing people. Mike went to the one in New York. Our guest.
Oh, I didn't go to the one in the city, but I went to
No,
the
it was
local
dope.
one, and there was several thousand people there. And
Yeah.
very specific demographic is showing up to these protests. Jeremy, we were trying to talk in the middle of being in two protests in two different states, so not much transmitted.
No.
But I did pick up him saying that everyone is basically Gen X or Boomer. It's all older white people that are finally like, oh, they're coming for our shit. Look,
And you know what? It's about time.
But the fact that people are showing up in absolutely astounding numbers, I'll freaking take it. I will take it. I wish it didn't take this long, but I'll take it.
Right. And this is only going to grow. This movement is only going to continue growing because what Donald Trump is doing is criminal.
Yes.
He himself posted that if back in the day, or a few years ago, it seems like it's been so long ago that if the market drops 1,000 points in a single day, that president should be impeached. Well.
I agree.
How times have changed. But anyway, before we get too off topic here, let me just quick show you just a 20-second clip of the crowd in Harrisburg.
Hands off, Mr. Trump. All right, I've got one more speaker for you guys.
Yeah, Harrisburg's not a big
In World
capital.
War
It's not a
II,
big
it
city
was said
at
that
all.
good people sleep peacefully in their beds at night only because rough men.
So I went from the Capitol building all the way out into the streets. It was amazing.
Dude, my wife told me she read that in Rhode Island they got 10,000 people in Providence. I was like, that's basically the entire state population.
Bro, Chicago.
and Chicago went
turned
nutty.
out.
Salt Lake City, people were like, we didn't know that many people even were that politically leaning.
Yeah.
Like,
So here is the one in D.C. Here's a clip from the one in D.C. And this was over 100,000 people as reported.
Get down! D.C. is a union town! Get up! Get down! D.C. is a union town! All right, now let's get down! Oh my goodness.
And that's all across the country. That's all across the country. As a result, all across the world, from what I've been reading, that the world is finally happy to see millions of Americans get off their asses,
giving a shit,
and giving a shit, and fighting for freedom, fighting for what's right, fighting for democracy. It is actually. I feel very optimistic after seeing the progression and how many people have been showing up over the last, from just like 90 days ago, or not 90 days ago, but even a month and a half, 45 days ago, until now. And this movement is only gathering steam as Elon Musk and Mike told us something very interesting before the show regarding Elon Musk that we'll talk about when we bring our guest on here in a second. More insanity. Apparently now, does Donald Trump really think Elon Musk could be vice president? I don't know. Dear God. Anyway, let's get to the show. So we have a lot to go over today. We're going to talk about Liberation Day and how it has caused the stock market to completely plummet, not just in America, but all across the world. Donald Trump has decided to tariff basically every country in the world except for Russia and a couple other shit countries that we're enemies typically with. He is also selling a $5 million gold card that he himself said will be out in less than 2 weeks.
That sounds. Where have I heard the 2 weeks time frame before?
Right. And Donald Trump leaves to play golf as all his billionaire and millionaire and crypto bro buddies lose their asses. And we are loving every second of it. And he admits that it's on purpose. That was a new development.
Yeah.
Trump continues to rewrite history, or try to rewrite history, attacking civil rights across the country. And then again, this is going to be a crazy month because there is a chance that we just want to reiterate. There is a chance that Donald Trump will try to at least attempt to invoke the Insurrection Act on Hitler's birthday, which is also 4/20. For our younger viewers, I will not elaborate any further on that. So anyway, let's get into the show. First, let me go ahead and introduce our guest. I met this guy on TikTok. I love his videos. And before I introduce him, let me go ahead and play one of those for you. Some of you guys may recognize him.
Breaking fuck the news, and this is real. A White House official has said to the Washington Post and other media outlets that Trump doesn't give a fuck. Trump is at the peak of not giving a fuck. He is going to do what he wants to do. That is real. That motherfucker said that to the press. So a White House official, they didn't name who, went outside, was talking to the press and said, Trump don't give a fuck.
I just died when you made that video. I'm like, that can't be real. And I looked, because I look everything up that I see on like TikTok, even though I trust the source. I'm like, that can't be real. I just have to see, because every week it gets dumber. And no, Trump is finally at the point where he's like, I don't give a fuck anymore.
I really just try to like find the most wildest shit I can find, and then I'll like find a post, and I'll just kind of go to Google and be like, oh, so like it just fucked me up that a bunch of reporters, they didn't put his face, but he literally just went outside and said, Trump don't give a fuck, bro.
That's hilarious. So welcome to the show for the first time. Daimann, who's also known on TikTok and other social media as Who is King Triv. And even though this guy was recently on TMZ, we are his first podcast. So I'm I feel very honored. No, I told him before the show, I think he's going backwards. He's supposed to do the podcast first Then TMZ. So, but no,
We'll take it.
Welcome to the show, man. I'm very glad you took the time out to come with us here. I know you were supposed to have you on before, and you weren't able to make it because of work. So yeah, welcome.
Yeah,
I hope you're ready to have some fun.
Gotta do it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're both fighting that one too. So anyway, before we get into this, I wanted to talk about an upcoming protest that Mike and I are actually honored to help organize. And since you're a veteran as well, you'll probably like this. We are helping organize a veterans protest, a rally against fascism on April 30th in Washington, D.C. at the National Mall from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you are unable to travel, and even if you're not a veteran, doesn't matter, please participate. You can participate nationwide by supporting your local VA. Also, I like to just throw this one up there as well because it has the donation information if you'd like to help, because this is not cheap to do. All of the donations go towards operating costs, setting up permits, all that stuff. That is not a link to our personal donations for the show, our GoFundMe for the show. And I like to throw this one up there because that's my dad. That is actually my father in the picture. We used AI to do the background, but we used the picture for my father to make that. So that's my father sweeping for mines in Vietnam. And I have some wilder pictures too. I have a picture of a guy, I think we showed it on the last show, him and his buddy sitting next to one another, and his buddy's literally pointing a gun at my dad's head, and my dad's just there smiling for the camera. I'm like, this is, wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy you said. My great uncle actually served in Vietnam, and that's what kind of pushed me to join the army.
Nice.
He was in the army before the Air Force even existed, so he was a tail gunner on a Chinook helicopter.
The Army Air Corps.
Oh, okay.
My grandfather, one of my grandfathers, was a bombardier in World War II in the Army Air Corps. He never saw service, but he loved being a bombardier.
Yeah, those guys used to be able to do whatever they wanted.
Yep.
They used to be able to just get away with anything.
Yeah, I went in with the full intentions of doing something amazing. I truly did. Not amazing, but I wanted to be part of something important. So I joined for Air Force Pararescue, which is their like combat medic, their special forces. And then I almost drowned twice and realized I like oxygen.
Okay.
a lot. So they reclassed me into something I had no interest in being in, and just my military career wasn't what I hoped it would be.
Funny
Not
that
at
you
all.
say that. Because one of my commanders when I was in the Army was prior Delta Force. He was like Delta Force.
Oh,
and
shit.
then they used to put, so the unit I was in used to do like training. So they used to put like people on their way out in charge of these units. And one day we had to get up for PT. He was like, oh, yeah, all right, everybody, we're going to do some Delta Force training. We're going to tie some rope around your legs, put your hands behind your back. We're going to throw you in the pool. And I'm like, sir.
None of that sounds fun.
I didn't join the Navy for a reason. What are you doing?
It's funny you mentioned that because that was the moment I realized I liked oxygen. They called the exercise bobbing. They strapped your feet together, tied your hands behind your fucking back, and they threw you into the deep end of a pool, and they're like, okay, you literally you would push off the bottom of the pool, take a breath of air, hope to God you reach the top so you could take a breath of air, and then you'd have to blow the air out so you sink, so you're not like stuck. Well, I got stuck in the middle because I was very buoyant, apparently. I didn't know this at the time. I blew all the air out and I got stuck in the middle between the surface and the bottom of the pool. And
and that was it.
I'm doing it. What do you do? You're tied together. You're flopping like a dead fish in the middle of the pool. All right. So it was horrifying.
You better than me. Me and my commander had it out for about 5 minutes. And he was like, he's like, please, you're getting in that pool. I'm not getting in that pool.
I am not.
You can have this break right now. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, you're like, sir, this is not Delta Force, please.
Oh, my God.
We train lieutenants, sir. We're in Missouri. There's not a big enough body of water for me to have to do this.
That's funny, man. All right, so, okay, yeah, we got off topic there a little bit. But, yeah, let's get into the show, man. So, a lot has been going on. Liberation Day. And I have, honestly, the best part about Liberation Day is watching people like Aiden Ross lose everything.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I sound I sound way too excited about that. But watching Aiden Ross lose his ass after he did that double face dicking dance with Donald Trump. Oh, it couldn't make me happier. So yeah, but not only that, I haven't been hearing much from all the millionaires and billionaires that supported Donald Trump because I don't think they're very happy with him right now. With the stock market.
David Portnoy said something.
Yeah, I
Oh, did
saw
he?
that. I saw the David Portnoy one too. That was the other guy's name. I couldn't remember what it was.
Well, I think in the beginning we were all suspecting that they were like dipping it, and then his rich buddies were buying some stock, then it would go up. Because there was a period of time where it was like doing one of these things.
Yeah.
And the assumption would be that eventually, as it's falling, you buy enough. Once it all goes back up, everyone's even richer than they were. But here's the
Right.
problem. It's not going back up.
No, not at all.
He's crashing the economy while he's playing golf. He doesn't care because he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm convinced that rich people were letting him just play tariff, and while they were just privatizing everything with Elon Musk. And now that he took it too far, and they were like, oh shit.
I think Mike actually has the numbers on how much golf Donald Trump has played in his second term so far.
This is from yesterday, so it doesn't include today. But I think he either won the tournament because he just wins all his tournaments at his own golf clubs.
He won another one.
But as of yesterday afternoon, he has spent 25.33% of his second term golfing. Now, remember, his first presidency, he spent over 1 year playing golf. 1 year. That's how many days. It's not like they count a week as him playing golf. When the numbers, the physical days he played golf added up to over a year of his first term. Think about that.
That's insane. I'm trying to find if I have the post because we just talked about, he just posted not that long ago, this will be my last ever win at one of my club championships.
Oh my God, he did say that.
And now he's like, I want another one.
I just want to be the petty one in the room and say
Do it.
the same golf course that he pays no taxes on because he buried his first wife on the golf course.
Boom.
Ouch.
And I'll wait because I love it when anyone brings that up. I'll say that he buried something on that golf course because apparently she was cremated and they needed 12 people to bring the casket out. What was
there
in
is a theory around that.
Probably his life savings in case.
Yeah, all the classified documents that we
It's probably full of gold.
Probably all the gold from the
Fort Knox. Oh shit!
It probably is.
Oh my God! What if it is?
all the gold from Fort
Oh
Knox.
no!
Yeah, that's funny. We actually have a theory about the gold and the price of gold and why Donald Trump seems to be admitting that this entire crash is on purpose. Because everybody's losing money except for people that have a lot of gold because gold prices have skyrocketed. I talked about this before. And as you can see, if you look right around the election in November, there's a big dip. And that was when Donald Trump was very adamant about talking about crypto and the economy doing good and blah, 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 blah. So there's a big dip in gold. Donald Trump gets elected, unstable. Then all of a sudden, market starts to tank. Gold prices just take off.
Flies up.
Yeah, and if you even ask ChatGPT, like, if this is why you would buy gold, like you would stash a large amount of gold if the economy was about to tank and the U.S. dollar was about to be devalued.
Well,
gold goes up.
I just want to throw in there too. It's that actually the time period that you just showed on that. I've never seen that chart before. Actually adds up with the current conflict that's going on in the Congo.
Oh, they're digging for more, aren't they? Real quick.
So there's so basically, I'll be quick about it. In Rwanda, there's the Hutus and the Tutsis. If you guys don't know, there was a large massacre that occurred.
Yes.
The Hutus were chased out of Tutsi territory because they slaughtered millions.
Yeah.
But what happened now is the Rwandan government, which is Tutsi controlled again, is now has been moving soldiers into the Congo to take out the Hutu terrorists. But the area that they're invading is a very enriched area of your stuff that you need for Teslas, gold, silver,
all these
everything you need. And then the rebels in Tutsi territory are being backed by a couple European nations that are also backed directly by the United States. But
wait. Are you telling me that our entire world is at the mercy of unrepentant capitalists just sucking the life and the materials out of the people and the land anywhere they want? I feel like that's woke, dude. I don't like that. That's too woke for me.
All right.
No, but like, I mean, this is the same thing. This goes to like Elon's background. The guy has money because his family owned an emerald mine. These people that are controlling our entire planet's economy have no stake in it, really, because they are the ones that own this land, own all of these properties. When the world crashes, they're just going to shrink into their own little bunkers and live like kings.
But that's how they feel the world should. They feel the world should be run by white, high status males.
Well,
That's how Elon Musk thinks.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The
but
whole
the thing
technocracy.
It's not just like we're seeing this gold. I'm glad you brought that up about, not just gold, but the raw materials, because it's all linked, right? Gold soars to record high after Fed holds rates steady, signals 2 cuts in 2025. Gold is going up while they keep cutting interest rates. Why? Because they're getting prepared. I think, again, this is not a conspiracy theory. We're just saying what we think might be happening based on evidence, to not go back to the gold standard, which is one of the things that destroyed our economy, but they're looking for a way to ensure value when the entire economy collapses and there is no economy. All right.
Right.
We're not the only ones saying this. All right. I'm going to quote this because I think it's hilarious. Holy fucking shit of breaking news. Germany is considering pulling its 1,200-ton gold stockpile worth $124 billion out of the United States over fears of what Trump might do. That means that other countries have us holding their gold for safekeeping, and now Elon is trying to hack his way into that. Fort Knox. That's Telegraph reporting this, not a blog. This hasn't happened since World War II. Why? Because they don't trust this psycho with their gold, and who can blame them? Trump threatens allies, wages economic war, and plays dictator with global markets. Germany sees the writing on the wall. He might just say, fuck it, and we're keeping the gold.
That is very interesting, because the same country that is saying that is the same country that melted down. I'm not going to.
Nobel Prize.
No, you're right. We talked about it before. No, you're right.
Melt
You're
down
absolutely
a group persons of gold to support a military, because after World War I, they were completely broke.
You know what?
Right.
I'm going to say it outright. This is
they took the gold from their teeth.
You son of a bitch! I was just going to say
sorry.
that. This
I'm
is
sorry.
a country. No. Because,
I always do that.
Again,
Mike.
the parallels, right? Germany is right now trying to fight off a new wave of not just fascism but Nazis. Okay, their government has a risk of a movement of modern day Nazis. And this is a country that took what happened in their country so seriously that you can't even pretend that Nazis are good in Germany anymore. Okay, this is a country that learned what it did and teaches how it was responsible for this. This is something they have owned.
Mustache Man's name is banned there. You can't even say his name on the street.
And
now you can get a jail sentence for doing the Hitler salute in Germany.
How about this? You're not allowed to name your kid Adolf in Germany, but in the U.S. you could do it.
Of course you can. Of course you can. We didn't end Nazism. We just imported it.
Actually, to some degree, we exported every theory that they used to do what they did, and then we adopted them, because the Holocaust was all based off Jim Crow, off everything else we've done, off World War II, Japanese internment, off everything.
I always like throwing this out there. Sometimes people take it as a conspiracy, but you can do your own research. The same time period in history, that I love history, that the Jewish gold or blood gold disappeared from Germany is the same amount of time that the United States started storing gold in Fort Knox. It's around the same time period.
But I do want to point out that Elon Musk was very vocal on Twitter about trying to get into Fort Knox. Okay, well, to make sure the gold wasn't stolen. What happens if they go to Fort Knox and then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, we were right, the gold was stolen. Oh God, where could it have gone? Right, the liberals.
Obama, damn it, Obama.
They took our job.
They would totally blame that on Obama. It was in Hillary. It was in Hillary's email server.
Well, that's what Hunter Biden was trying to do. See,
not on Signal. They didn't do it on Signal.
Yeah, they didn't do it on Signal
or so Gmails. Funny. We just fired half of our security staff for that.
Right.
Hey. Oh my God.
All right. So let me get into some of this stuff. First, I just want to show a quick clip of what Donald Trump was doing while the economy was completely tanking. I guess possibly one of the greatest. Well, no, maybe one of the greatest. It is one of the greatest stock market drops in American history. Now it is anyway. Yep. And this is what Donald Trump was doing. Also, I would like to point out that Donald Trump would rather play golf with the fucking Saudis than pretend to be a human being. When 4 dead American soldiers were returned, he couldn't even be there to accept. The Lithuanians were there. And our own president could not be there. So if you're a veteran and you still support Donald Trump, please and respectfully shove your head up your own ass.
So Trump isn't attending the dignified transfer of soldiers who died in Lithuania. He won't be present today for the dignified transfer of these 4 soldiers to be transferred to Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. Instead, he'll be attending a live golf dinner reception in Florida. Now, what you need to understand
dinner.
is this is always linked, okay? Not only does Donald Trump hate soldiers, he has said it, okay? MAGA likes to pretend he didn't say it. He fucking said it, okay? But he did this. He left for this golf trip as he destroyed the economy. He literally tariffed the shit out of everything. The economy went down, and he went to go play golf with his buddies that his son-in-law got $2 billion from. Okay,
I would like to
this is all linked.
Being a vet, serving at a military base that mainly did training, I did do a lot of like funeral details. So a lot of people don't know that. I used to do ready and I used to do a lot of them. I used to volunteer. Free food and a free city I get to go to. I'm with it. But on the other hand of it, there was a lot of moments where it like really touched my heart. And let's call it duck a duck. I'm a black man. I did do one funeral for a gentleman that was in Germany who decided that he wanted to take an easier way out of life.
Oh man!
So we had to meet at we had to drive from Missouri to the Chicago O'Hare Airport, be on the tarmac, retrieve his body from the plane, and then drive it from the Chicago O'Hare Airport to Milwaukee.
Wow!
So it for me, some people don't support soldiers. I don't even support conflict that ain't got nothing to do with us or me. But being that my uncle served, and I was there for my uncle passing. He passed from stomach cancer. That's not a whole to do, but that's what ended up happening in his life. Probably Agent Orange. Let's be real.
Oh, probably.
My dad too. Brain cancer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
fucking hell.
So I was there for that, and I saw the flag, and for me, being a Black American is not really more about the sense of like American pride or whatever. But like I tell people all the time, like some people in my culture, I was like, oh, I want to go to Africa. I'm proud to be an African American. It is what it is. I can't take that away from myself. My uncle served in the military. Did we want to do it by choice? Probably not. But I had a daughter on the way. My uncle just wanted to have a better life for himself. So, being that said, I feel like at any moment, even when I see veterans, especially when I see any kind of veteran with a hat older than Desert Storm, I shake their hand and I stop and I say, I appreciate you for your service because I understand the mental fortitude it takes. Because most of those guys, as much as America wants you to believe the propaganda that they're there because they have America pride, most of those guys are there because they have kids, wife, a family, no money, they have nothing else going for them.
Well, without the propaganda, you wouldn't get as many people signing up. And that's one of the problems the military is having now is the more you have people realizing what goes on in the world, what soldiers are being asked to do, and not how people are treating the soldiers, but how our government is disrespecting them continuously. Recruitment numbers are so far down that don't think something weird isn't going to come if they start some horrible conflict.
Recruiting numbers were actually down when I joined in 2017.
Wow.
They were fighting then. And then like what really made me, I only did my 3 years and got out. And what really made me get out, to be honest with you, and why I just stopped really caring, it wasn't like what I was fighting for. It wasn't even who was president at the time, because I believe I had left at the time of Trump's first presidency. It wasn't that either. It was the fact that I got a letter on my little nice desk with the soldiers that were underneath me that stated that we were in a non-combative conflict with Russia, China, and North Korea, and we need to be prepared at all times. And I said, oh,
I'm not going to war.
I ain't signed up for that shit. I'm going to the time of peace. Fuck is you talking about? Then they switched our training. And here's another one. I'm sorry to go off.
Do it.
Another training thing that we were training in Missouri. They're like, okay, we're doing summer training, but we're gonna do a lot of the outdoor stuff when it gets colder because we need to start training for winter. What the fuck do you mean? Well, girl star looked at me in my face and goes, oh, because we made Russia gets cold. I said, if Germany couldn't do it.
If Russia gets cold, like, wait a second.
I'm not trying to be that guy, but most of those guys who try to invade Russia in the winter were white. I'm not. I'm black. I like warm. It's not going to work out, brother.
Yeah, and even they didn't do very well because Russia, they're used to that. They grew up in that, man.
I mean, the long and short.
I know.
The long and short of it is Donald Trump couldn't be bothered to just go receive these bodies because he doesn't care. And he's owned by the Saudis, just like he's owned by Putin. All right. Imagine having the audacity to wreck the economy and then decide to take another 4-day work week so he can enjoy a golf tournament in Mar-a-Lago while Americans suffer.
Yeah.
That's all he cares about. All right. I saw something right before the show. It was a picture of him in a suit with his idiot son, Eric, driving a golf cart. And it said, this might end up being the most impactful photo from Trump's second presidency, considering what's going on. And
here, I'll just play this. You can keep talking while I'm playing. But
show it. That's awesome.
Actually, I think this is them, right? This is it.
This is it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the clip. I didn't even know you were going to bring that up.
That's funny.
Perfect. Yeah,
this is what he's doing while the economy is dead. Yep. Soldiers are waiting to be picked up with dignity by their commander-in-chief, and he's out making sure the Saudis got what they paid for.
I would also like to say I'm the breaking news guy. I don't know if you guys heard, but also what happened today with that all going on, the Trump administration and Trump announced that they will not be doing any kind of stopping of the tariffs that are coming. The tariffs that he announced and the stock market crashing is just an announcement. A lot of those tariffs haven't come into play yet. So the stock market even isn't at its all-time low. Exactly. But today they announced that they're not.
Monday it's going to die.
There's no recovery from it. There's no.
No, we can't fix it. There's nothing coming back now.
And just so you guys are also aware of what Donald Trump was doing while he was on Air Force One, I believe on the way to the golf tournament. Actually, it honestly doesn't matter at this point. He was showing the press his new gold card. That $5 million, that's all you got to pay to become a citizen in the United States now. If you're poor and you just want to build a better life for you and your future generations, well, apparently fuck off, according to Donald Trump. But if you have $5 million and you're a Russian oligarch, no problem. Here is him showing off his new gold card. And don't worry, you're not going to hear his voice. We're not that cruel.
$5 million. For $5 million, this could be yours. That was the first of the cards. See that? You know what that card is? Gold card, it's the gold card. The Trump card, gold card. Who's the first buyer? Me. I don't know. But I'm the first buyer.
Why would he buy?
Why?
It'll be out in about less than 2 weeks, probably.
Right.
Oh, 2 weeks. Got it.
Right. Remember, don't forget the 2 weeks promise, because that's literally been
plan
his.
Is coming in 2 weeks.
Right. We're still waiting 2 weeks for his healthcare plan, which was how many years ago now?
So here's the beauty of how fucking dumb he is, and no one calls him out on it. That's that card that's meant to be bought by rich people to become American citizens on some fast track, quid pro quo situation.
Yeah.
Why would he then say I would be the first person to buy it? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like.
Well, his granddaddy is from Germany. He's technically a first generation.
He's posthumously buying his pimp granddad.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think his daddy was born here. I think his dad.
No, his daddy was not born here.
His dad was immigrated here as a child with his granddad.
His daddy was a Hitler Youth.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's real. Like
that's real.
Oh no,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
His dad and his granddad immigrated to America, to New York, in the early 1900s.
I knew that, and I knew it was. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, okay, I got you. Hey,
wait,
this family.
Where does that $5 million go?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it goes in Trump's pocket, exactly like.
I know where that goes.
And just so you know, that with the dinner with the Saudis, from what I heard, was $1 million a plate. Who do you think that money goes to? And
I don't know.
It's none of the money's coming out of Donald Trump's pocket because all his travel expenses are covered by the American taxpayer.
Got it.
So he is literally not spending any money right now and just enriching himself while Americans lose their asses.
But hey,
and
Jimmy
good
Carter
people are losing everything too. Right. Yeah, no conflicts of interest here, especially with him and Elon Musk. Like, it's absolutely insane.
You mentioned the tariffs, so I just want to show this real quick because I think you have a video on, some people trying to explain how brilliant his tariffs are.
Yeah.
Okay, just so you understand something, this is quite fascinating. China's actual tariff rate was 7.5%. Trump's minions bungled it using AI, which, by the way, should be discussed, to claim it was 67% and thus slapped a 34% tariff on them. China has now increased its tariff from 7.5% to 34%. So Trump instantly made China's tariffs 4.5% worse on the U.S.
So
he's an idiot.
Being that I'm young and being that I wanted to say this real quick, I do, I'm a little younger generation, so I watch a lot of streamers and shit. And right after I showed Speed's little tour of China and showing that China was not as bad as a place, there was some racist shit going on.
Oh, there's some bad shit in China.
But that's everywhere. That's America. You go to the part of America, you're going to run into that.
True.
But you know, watching that happen and then knowing that Donald Trump, it was announced that he didn't plan out the numbers for the tariffs until then, like 4 hours before he announced them. Like he sat in his office and said, "Yep,
Made them
fuck
up.
that." I 100% believe that social media, because he knows Aiden Ross, and Aiden Ross hangs out with Little I Show Speed, and he bases everything off of whoever the fuck is in his ear telling him social media. Da, da, da. I feel like that number was not 34% until he realized a lot of people were like, "Wait a minute." The Chinese ain't that bad, motherfucker. When I went on Red Note and I saw that they were buying groceries that cost me $500 for $120, I lost my fucking mind.
They made fun of us. They were like, "You pay for ambulance rides?" We're like, "Yeah,
yeah."
That hit me a lot earlier in life than you would have thought. When I was on Vine, I ran into a girl from Sweden, and she straight up I was on the Vine wave, and I had a good following. Some girl from Sweden, fucking in 2012, was like, "What do you mean you have to have like Medicare? What's that?" And I'm like, "What do you mean what's Medicare?" She was like, "We just go to the hospital and they take us. What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, how do you guys afford that, like government wise?" As a kid, I asked this. She was like, "The government, our tax dollars.
That's what the taxes are for."
Yeah.
But that's what their job is. Yeah, so in the U.S., not only do they take our taxes and not give us health insurance, but then we have to pay for health insurance, which, by the way, when they cover it, doesn't cover all of it. So what the fuck are you paying for health insurance? But that's another show.
Now, two-handed sword is you have to serve in the military for 1 year, but I do that. Free healthcare, serve for the military for 1 year.
Yeah, but that's how you. But see, the funny part of that is that's part of civics is you show service. Maybe on a larger scale, you don't have to always serve in the military. But for a long time, I've believed that there should be other forms of service. For example, if you don't want to go in the military, you got to spend a year driving old people to their doctor's appointments.
Yeah,
do something to show that you have a connection to your society. And
Army, it is.
Yeah, that might actually be better. It might be better.
Right.
To the nurses that watch this,
I don't know how they do it.
I'm not wiping ass.
I don't know how they do it. They have
my mom worked at a hospice. She still does every once in a while. She's 81 years old. Still, well, unfortunately, in the current state of the world, she doesn't have a choice. Even with her retirement and Social Security,
my granddad still has to.
Right, and she works at a hospice watching people die, and she tells me stories. I'm like, nope. Like, she's told me stories about like external, like when you see cancer on the outside of somebody's body, I'm like,
no, thank you.
No, or like people missing like half of their face because they had to have it surgically. Nope. I couldn't do it.
All right. So, now that we all have that image.
Sorry. Okay, let's do a cleanser. Let's do a cleanser. I apologize for that. Let's play a video. I have more Granny Trump videos because from now on, Donald Trump will sound like an old woman because it's funny and I'm an asshole. So this is just him. I call this video, I posted this on social media, but this is Granny Trump being old-fashioned. No, I'm sorry. Let me read my own writing correctly here. It's not writing, it's type. So that makes it even worse. Granny Trump is so old-fashioned.
Likewise, an old-fashioned term that we use groceries. I used them in the campaign. Such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term, groceries. It so says a bag with different things in it. Groceries and I campaigned on that. I talked about the word groceries for a lot.
It's still funny.
Just to remind everybody, this man has never shopped for groceries. This man has never driven a car. He's not allowed to drive cars. He hasn't done any of that shit for like 30 fucking years. Everything that comes out of his mouth is just going to let you know right now it's a narcissistic thing to say because, bitch, you don't even do that.
I know. And the fact that all he came up with was groceries. It's a bag with different things in it. Like
he doesn't know. Because he doesn't
know. He doesn't know. He's never,
he's never had to go get a thing of milk. The milk.
I would love to see him with like a grocery bag. Just
the man has a Coke button in his office for crying out loud.
Holding the bag. I don't know what's in there. American.
I don't know.
There's stuff in there. There's an orange, an apple, some grapes.
Right. All right, so before we move on to a couple videos of Trump's administration trying to gaslight everybody into how Donald Trump's economy crash is a good thing, and I have a Stephen Miller one that you guys are absolutely going to love. But first, I have one more of Granny Trump. Here's him bragging about how good the economy was during his first term that he inherited from Obama, but it was Trump, okay, so he's very proud of that. But on the right side, while he's bragging about his first term, is just the stock numbers in all red. It's just so good.
From the day of my election, the stock market went up in my first term 88%, with NASDAQ going up 155% more than any president has
making up
ever
those numbers.
had in any term in office.
He so
by
is,
far.
man.
And I think we're going to blow that away. And maybe the numbers won't show, but I think they're going to show much better than even those numbers.
I beg to differ.
Negative 4% is an insane, like,
that's
that's such an insane.
And that's just for that day.
it's important to note, and I actually can't believe it that they did this, because they're actually slowly trying to turn on Trump as an organization. But Fox News, for 28 years, their existence, has always had the stock ticker on their live broadcast. Well, that day they removed it.
Yep. Yes.
Like, I know that doesn't mean anything to the average person. It doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean anything to anyone that really has any stake in anything. But the fact that they took it off just because they know that everything that he says is a big lie, I'm trying to figure out if they're doing that to cover their own ass so they don't get sued again. They're like, well, we're going to let him say this shit and not call him out. Let's take away the evidence.
Well, the problem I think it is that you can't. A lot of people have this idea of like social appearance, and Fox News has a big issue with social appearance. And social appearance meaning if we go online and tell everybody the stock market isn't bad, but we leave the ticker up there and they can see the ticker and they're like, hey, it's bad or it's not bad, then they're gonna look like liars. And one thing about Fox News is they don't want Donald Trump to be like, you're fake news. He did it in his first press. See, people don't remember Donald Trump hated Fox News till they got that shit together. He said, hey,
you're
Fox
right.
News
I remember
fake
that.
news, get that shit together. I don't know what you talk about. And what did they do? They got that shit together. So now it's like we can't say it, but we can remove things.
Well, I think the major problem they're running into is they've been trying to tell everybody how good Donald Trump is going to be and for the economy as president, like what he was before the election. You know what I mean? They were like, yeah, he's going to be great for the election or great for the economy and prices are going to go up and everybody's life's going to be better. And now they're in complete panic mode because they have to try and still convince people that this is not as bad as it looks. It's hilarious.
One of my favorite things that I've heard his little scumbags going around on the media to try and say is to tell everyone that the way tariffs work is actually up to the consumer, that we're supposed to buy American.
Yeah.
Well, so this is what people don't understand. The people that want to just say, well, stop getting things from other places and only buy American. I know this is hard for you because you don't understand how anything works, but America just doesn't have everything.
Right.
We don't like have every produce, all fruits that grow on the planet. We don't have every animal. We don't have every natural resource.
No.
We don't have coffee. So when people say buy American, how are you supposed to buy American coffee when no coffee is made in America?
Right.
Except like a little bit in Hawaii, which is insanely expensive. How are you supposed to do that?
I find it interesting too that none of it's in Italy either, MAGA.
Oh yeah, they want to stop getting Colombian coffee by getting Italian coffee, which is
which tastes like
Colombia.
shit.
Yeah,
it tastes like shit.
It does. All right, so let me play. This is Howard Lutnick. This is Trump's guy's economy guy. I forget what his exact title is. Honestly, I don't even care at this point. This is Howard Lutnick trying to gaslight everybody on CNN that this is not so bad. And yes, I changed his voice too.
Let Donald Trump run the global economy. He knows what he's doing. He's been talking about it for 35 years. You gotta trust Donald Trump in the White House. That's why they put him there. Let him fix it. I hate Sandy. It's broken. Let him fix it. Our $36 trillion deficit, right, is going to ruin our children's lives and our grandchildren's lives. Let Donald Trump fix the American economy.
I am so sick of hearing that same line of the deficit will hurt our children. It never actually will, because the way economies work is there's always functioning with an amount of debt. That's how you owe other countries and other things, and you keep them going. The problem is that the economy wasn't broken. So whenever he said that, whether he said it the day before Trump tanked the economy or not, the economy that Donald Trump inherited was one of the strongest in recent memory. It was one of the strongest on the planet, especially in considering recovery from COVID. Okay. that when he says Donald Trump for 35 years has known what to do for the economy, well, then why doesn't he know what to do with his businesses when he's declared at least 7 bankruptcies in casinos to boot? Okay.
Yeah.
The guy the guy has fake universities, fake steaks, fake wine. The guy is a grifting piece of shit. And you're going to sit there and actually say we should let this man run not just the American economy, but like some global economy. You know what the irony in that is? MAGA thinks that we should stop being globalists. So why would you have Trump run a global economy if MAGA elected him to run the American economy and fuck the rest of the world? Yeah. They can't even get their lies right.
So I always like taking stuff, like I said, back to history. When it comes to what you see and what you can imagine, I was a kid when the Bushes were president. I wasn't even alive when the first Bush was president, but when the Bushes were around. Something you got to understand, the Republican Party's been weak. Right? And the issue is they never had like a set stone policy and plan that they were going to follow. Now, mind you, do I agree with a lot of Democrats? I'm going to be honest, I don't a lot of the times. But they always have a set path that they stay on that kind of follows a narrative that you already know is going to come. They told you when they were running for president, they're going to support Israel and support da-da-da. You knew that was coming, but it was the two-handed sword of both evils. Okay. When you get with the Republican Party, the issue is we had a John McCain versus a George Bush. John McCain and George Bush are not on the same platform.
No.
With civil duties and civil matters and how they handle things. Donald Trump is now on that extremist level. So what you had now was like a Bush who was a right-wing Republican, but then you had somebody like John McCain who understood the respects of both sides and why he needed both sides to be on his side. And then you have somebody like Donald Trump who's just a very right-wing extremist. If you don't agree with him, it's your way or the highway. And I feel like the start of this whole downfall of constitutional rights, let's just talk about it, was the moment that the Supreme Court judges voted that a president can't commit a crime.
Yep.
And that changed any status that you have in this country. So now what you have is a bunch of politicians and a bunch of lawmakers who are terrified by a president who they don't know will throw them in jail. They don't know what he's going to do. They don't know if they're going to take. Fuck, he just fired somebody who was the head of a department for almost 30, 40 years and said, yeah, you got to get out of this house because we paid for it.
Yep.
What that was, and what the initial 35 to 40 days was that Mustache Man also did, was a scare tactic. Now, mind you, did anybody pass away or die from this? God knows. There was a lady who mysteriously died who had some cases against some Russians.
That's true.
But I ain't going to talk about it. But they just don't know. So what you see, like in that clip there, what I take that as, that's not somebody who believes the shit he's saying. But sometimes you can look at fucking Elon Musk, he'll sit up there and you can kind of see in his face, he's like, I don't really believe what I'm saying.
Right.
I have to say it because now I'm in a business deal with a businessman who has failed multiple businesses, but he has now a private military to back it up. So if I say something wrong, you know what I mean? So it's
they all fell in line.
All right, let me show one more clip of one of these Nazis talking about the economy. You can call him that. Because this last guy, Stephen Miller. Mike and I's joke is that Stephen Miller, like if you combined every Nazi that ever lived, it would look like Stephen Miller.
No, that's true.
But I can't stand his voice either, so I had to make him look stupid. But anyway, here's the last video of them trying to tell the world that this is a good thing. And just look at all the red on the bottom of the screen.
We had an economy that was in a state of calamity and catastrophe. President Trump's policy of reshoring our supply chains, pushing for total expensing of capital gains, eliminating regulation, eliminating intrusive green new scam environmental rules, pushing for the biggest, broadest tax cut in American history, and reducing taxes on American workers, including ending taxes on tips, ending taxes on overtime, ending taxes on Social Security. This economic program is the single most important program for American wealth, prosperity, and rejuvenation that we've ever seen in this country.
They're not very intimidating when you make them sound like
he practiced that in the mirror. That wasn't.
He did.
Oh, definitely.
That was scripted.
No tax on tips.
God,
they're still pitching the no tax on tips thing, even though their budget resolution had no mention of whatsoever.
After yesterday's protest, I want to know who the MAGA has, because most of the old people I saw, I didn't ask, but I know for sure some of them probably voted for Trump, thinking it was.
Of course.
There
has
no
to
way.
be. There has to
5 million people in every city reported that they were older than the age of 30 or 40 years old. Without the fuck side. Veterans. You can't tell me they have a party, and then every time I go on Twitter or something just to do a check to see how they're doing over there, these motherfuckers like, oh, Donald Trump's approval rate. Who? College students?
There's not enough of them. Half the country don't want to go to college, so who the fuck?
I saw this old couple wearing matching sweatshirts. And it's funny you said that matching sweatshirts and said I didn't vote for him. My first thought was like, yeah, you did.
My favorite was I didn't vote for a South African immigrant or something. It was like it felt like a derogatory slur, and I'm like, yeah. I did that. Fuck yeah.
Let me tell you what we've seen recently, and this is funny because, oh my God, people don't know what they hate Elon for. So it's funny how some of them are actually starting to take on the quote African thing, and in their minds they're getting to say certain words, but it's about a white guy. So like they're getting close to saying what they want to say with the hard R. We did that on our last show, the hard R. And like
Trump
they don't know how
loves
to
R,
talk about, the more they
Tesla.
get angry at Musk for that, the more I think they're starting to think he's black. And like I don't know. Because
I don't know if you guys know this, but I have a whole thing on my TikTok where I had a list of racial slurs or maggots.
That's one of the reasons I started following you, man.
Call it maggot
I thought it was
slur.
hilarious.
So like you know, there's a racial slur for like porch something. I was like porch maggots. I use that shit all the time.
Oh my God, porch maggot.
Yeah, bro. It's like fuck it, porch maggot. You got magoons. You got maganitties. I mean, hey, fuck it. The bet's at the door. Hey, it can use it for all broads of aspect. It don't got to be black or white.
Can I add one?
Maglets.
Fear chucker.
We had flag chucker though.
Flag chucker.
We had fucking flag chucker, bro. That took me out, and a white guy made that up.
Oh, that's
that is
funny.
Brilliant.
That is too funny.
Swamp maggots. We got a list of them, man. It goes.
Yeah, it was actually one of those videos. You were calling yourself a maggist, a maggist, and maybe instead of a racist, you're a maggist.
I have a sweater that actually says it with the term. I gotta find the sweater. It's in my car.
Oh, that's
but it's funny because this goes to the whole core of it, of that everything they do is based on racism. Because
it is
when you really define what Musk is he is an illegal South African immigrant. Mm-hmm. He is not here legally. He does not have any legal status. He is a foreign national from Africa. He just happens to be a white guy from South Africa. But people don't know how to handle that because before they've never had to acknowledge that white people live in Africa.
Whose father's a raging racist.
That's what I mean. Like apartheid, you know, his grandfather was a Nazi sympathizer. Yeah, that whole family. Between Jesus Christ. There's so many Nazi ties between just Trump and Elon Musk. There's so many ties to Nazis.
But it always comes down to racism. It's the same thing as if you make white people and black people hate each other, they won't realize that the rich people are fucking them all. That's what it is.
I'm happy you said that. So fun fact. Sorry, I don't mean to do this again.
Do it. No,
please.
The race theory came from modern. Well, I want to say modern. About 1800 years, about the 1800 time period, Europeans came up with the idea that in order to segregate a group of people, you can't have it be black and white because it's not going to work.
Exactly.
Because there's poor whites and then there's poor blacks.
Yes.
And what the rich were doing was segregating the poor whites and having them. That's where this whole fucked up idea of, we were slaves too. Indentured servitude and slavery are not two of the same coin.
They are not the same
store. You just had to sleep with us, motherfucker. You can still go outside.
Exactly.
So,
you have credit card debt. That's an indentured servitude.
So the idea of this whole, like, it's the rich versus the poor. That's why I try to get my people to understand. I'm gonna be real. This whole sit down and sit back. You motherfuckers don't understand how bad it can get before black people decide let's go outside. I understand. See, the issue is for fucking 10 years consecutively, Democrat or Republican, we had issues with the Black Lives Matters and towns being burned to the ground, banks, businesses, and they just gave it all around a bad look. So now you got African Americans who are sitting back like, this isn't our fucking problem anymore. But I don't like that, and I want to be the voice of reason to understand that, listen, I get it, I feel it. But if you sit back like Martin Luther King did, you're not going to accomplish shit. Let's be real. Martin Luther King only got a name for himself and a federal holiday to shut us the fuck up. Malcolm X didn't get none of that because he wouldn't shut the fuck up. There's a difference.
Oh, and it's almost like they're trying to get rid of Juneteenth because that one speaks a little too close to home.
But at the same time, though, what it was. This is ultimately white people's fault. I mean,
look,
we don't like. I'm not going to say it's not. I mean,
we say
it is. It is fucking overwhelmingly white people voted for Donald Trump.
White women and
black
white
people
men
overwhelmingly
voted for Donald Trump.
For Kamala Harris.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? obviously it's we need to be the ones out in the street too. You know what I mean? Like I hate
yeah,
when
but that's
people
the point.
put.
Is now it's
I hate
happening.
when there's. But see, that's the thing. I hate when there's social injustice going on. People automatically look like to the marginalized communities. Like, why aren't you standing up for your rights? Like, yo, motherfuckers, like we're the ones oppressing them.
Okay, so I gotta
Like-
say, I had to think of a way to say this because of being an African American man, anything I could say could be misconstrued as like black nationalism. But what I will say is the issue is we have like news outlets and social sites telling white people their population's on the decline.
We do. You're right.
They have this idea that
the great
population,
replacement theory.
but if you go on Google and you simply Google minorities in major cities, African Americans are usually the second highest, if the second highest. I'm from California. The second highest is Hispanic. So you have this idea, but always, no matter what neighborhood you click, I think there was one neighborhood ever that I clicked that the population was higher than whites, and that was in Washington, D.C. And the population of African Americans is higher. And I recently went and I saw it firsthand. I'm like, oh shit, there is a lot of black people here. But it's like unilaterally, it's this idea that South Park, even that's why I always do the joke of they took our jobs because
God, it's one of our favorite
because
ones.
South Park gave you the example in 2006, 7, or 8 that that is not a real thing. There's too many Caucasians around the planet.
Right.
There's not that many immigrants African Americans. Let's go with me. In America than people think there is. I think the population on a full scale ratio is 73% to like 30 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the high majority is Caucasian, and this idea that they're getting with our women. That's where this whole idea about abortion bans
No,
came
you're
from.
right. You're right.
The abortion ban, personally, for me, wasn't for like, oh, we want women to save babies. No, they didn't give a fuck about that. They want more white kids that are going to vote.
They definitely want more
white in their racist views.
Right, and keep in mind these Nazis, especially like Elon Musk, believes in eugenics. Donald Trump believes in eugenics. So the one thing they hate is blending of the races. That is one thing they are absolutely 100% against. And that goes, again, towards what they believe, which is the great replacement theory. They are afraid that over time, if they let everything go the way it's going, that eventually the white people won't exist anymore. That's seriously what these people think.
So
Adolf Hitler thought the same shit.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yvonne made a good point. Notice there wasn't much police presence yesterday, but BLM protests were made into riots by the police. Now,
I saw like 3 cop cars.
It's funny you say that because in the protest that I went to, it was much smaller. It was right outside one of our representatives' offices. There was a couple of patrol cops, but for the most part, the cops were just in cars and occasionally would drive up and down. So as people were honking and cheering, the cops would drive up and down just to let you know that they were still there. And what I was very proud of is no one booed them. Because my theory is when the cops are around, we shouldn't be booing them. I'm not saying to let them haul us away, but I'm saying don't verbally act poor to them, because then that gives more fuel to anyone else. Ironically, cheer them and be like, woo! And that's what we were doing.
So being that I'm from California and I've lived in Pittsburgh and I saw what happened yesterday, and I've been to many protests. I've been to a lot more protests than people think. I was at a protest for Trump's first presidency. I was riding around in the pickup truck playing "Fuck Donald Trump." I've been in this for a minute. You know what I mean?
I used to do that in my Amazon van.
I just now started recently speaking up publicly, and how I feel about this is like with the African American community, especially in California, we're used to a certain kind. Okay, when I was in high school, for example, when I was 15 years old, if I wore a certain color and walked with more than 3 groups of people on Thursdays, my community on Tuesdays and Thursdays, my community knew in San Diego, California, don't walk in groups of people. Our high school would train us not to walk in groups wearing a certain school color because they would automatically put you on a list as a gang member, and then the next time they stopped you, any type of gang activity happened in that neighborhood, you're automatically roped in. Also, there was San Diego separated into districts like the Hunger Games. District 8, 9, and 10 was in Southeast San Diego, where I'm from. I have that tattooed on me because that's where a lot of the ethnic groups lived. The issue is District 7, 8, 9, or 10 or whatever, we had curfews. If you went to districts 1 through 6, they didn't have shit. The white kids could be out till 2 in the morning. The cops didn't give a fuck. So the issue now is they have indoctrinated this idea. Even during the Rodney King riots in 97, people just think it was a bunch of black people mad. And the cops beat some white dude up, so they started beating up random white people. It's deeper than that. It's a deeper rooted issue. The issue is we would get prosecuted and segregated, or be some type of prosecution. Even I've been called the N-word hard R more in California than I have in the Midwest, than I have in the South. I've been to fucking Florida, Alabama. I've been to Missouri, but I've been called it more in California. Outside of Disneyland in Anaheim, they still have KKK rallies. So
Oh yeah.
there, you can't. The issue is that you have a bunch of African Americans who are tired and pissed off. You have a bunch of generation of children who are just like, bro, my mom told me for years never bring a white girl into my house. I had to fix what I was about to say. You know what I mean? So you have this indoctrination of ideas that is like, don't trust them. So whenever you have a Black Lives Matter protest and the first fucking cop that feels some kind of way, because one thing black people's good for, talking shit, we gonna get under that skin. So the moment a motherfucker say something to you that gets right under your skin and the cop get a little hype, right? Everybody in the crowd's getting hype with him. So it's like a two-handed sword in the situation. If I understand my people struggle, but it's also like sometimes, even me, I've gotten into it with the police before, because what the fuck did I do? I'm walking while black. Leave me the fuck alone. But
Wearing a hoodie
I
while black.
but there's nothing I can do in the moment. So sometimes you got to take that with a grain of salt. Until I got 30,000 people behind me, in case I get arrested and 30,000 people going to jump this cop for getting me, I can't do nothing. I got to be like, yo.
It's interesting you said that, because what people don't understand is the protections that a lot of people grew up with that they didn't even know they had are disappearing. And we're not the only ones taking notice. The world is, okay? So the civil rights, the Civicus Monitor Watch List, this was updated March 10th this year. The United States of America is added to the Civicus Monitor Watch List due to the threats to civic freedoms under the Trump administration. Unprecedented executive orders designed to unravel democratic institutions, rule of law, and global cooperation raise alarm. In 2025, the new administration slashed federal funding for organizations supporting people most in need, dismantled U.S. aid, and reversed progress on justice, inclusion, and diversity. So, what does that mean? Well, we are now on a narrowed spectrum of civil rights freedom. This rating is typically given to countries where democratic freedoms, such as the freedoms of expression, peaceful assembly, and association, are increasingly being violated. Okay, there are a total of 42 countries in the world with this rating, and the United States is on it. Okay,
awesome.
It might not be as bad as some of the other ones like Russia, China, some places in South America and Africa, fine. But guess what? We're not the most free country out there, and we're not the most free for the most amount of people. If you are a white rich man in this country, you're great. If you are a white man in this country, you'll probably survive somewhat unscathed if you don't give a shit about your neighbors and the people you love. But everyone else, those rights are disappearing, and we are now expecting other countries to follow suit. We are expecting institutions to reduce their civic freedoms. It's getting bad in this country.
I want to say something, and I'm not gonna lie. I like being honest about everything, even my news. I like being honest about something. This is probably something I'm gonna clip because I want to say this off of what you just said. What a lot of people in America need to understand: just because you're white, black, Hispanic, Mexican, Asian, Indian, it does not matter. And you've been in America for 3 generations. You have a little bit of pocket change on you. You're still a minority to the upper echelons.
Yes,
because I'm black and live in I'm black and live in the projects, and you're white and live in a suburb neighborhood. Just because your family is still living half a paycheck to paycheck, you're still in the same subcategory as me. So even though you don't feel like you're a minority, even though you feel like they're on your side, the moment things turn left, they're not. They're not going to be on your side. They don't give a fuck about your grandpappy's Medicare. They don't give a fuck about your granddaddy's VA. Fun fact, they shut off the VA hotline because they don't have enough workers to work the hotline.
Yeah.
The suicide hotline is what I'm talking about. So what a lot of people you guys got to understand that it's not about black and white. It's not about Americans versus Mexicans. It's really just about basic civic human rights and what's right and what's wrong. There's certain things I'm going to say that the Democrats said I don't agree with, and hard take. I believe that there should be. See, this is a hard one, and I'm going to say this. I hope it doesn't offend anybody. I don't believe that people who transition should play women's sports, but I also believe the same way you can make a Special Olympics for people who are of paraplegics and stuff like that, you can make specific sports in schools, in places that kind of fit the demographic of what you have going on. But the whole idea, they can't do this because they're mentally unstable. They take medicine. That's fucked up. You know what I mean? And there's a certain way you can go about things that if you don't, there's a certain way civilly as a human you could go about things to treat somebody else with decency, because you never know if somebody in your family or a child of yours is going to be dealing with that issue in the future.
I think you hit it on the head. The word is civility, because something that I always harp on is civics. We don't push that in public schools, in any education anymore. The idea of what it means to be a functional, proper citizen that works and for the benefit of everyone. People don't understand what it means that we're in a society together. They think that if you become more of a homogenous society, you lose your identity, you lose your culture. No, that only happens when you're forced to. Everyone can still maintain their culture, and then we could also be functional civic Americans. You don't have to disappear your history, your families, anything. We're all American. We all have our past. We all have our own cultures and ethnicities. But it's the racism that is expecting people to vanish and remove their cultural roots. No one's asking that. And in a civic society where people are working together for everyone's benefit, we don't all have to be whitewashed. I'm using it as a pun. We can all still maintain what we are if we understand that working together for everyone's benefit is the driving force. Right now, they want all the little groups hating each other while the rich people steal from all of us. That's the difference between a functioning civic society and an oligarchy.
Right. Yeah, I think civics is definitely important, but I think I've watched too many videos of Gen Z. Like I like when they asked, the street interviews they do. I swear to God, you could probably find this video right now if you went on TikTok. This guy walks up to this young girl, asks her, "What shape is the Pentagon?" They were asked a question, about American citizens. She said square. I was like, oh, shit. How could
that's like calling someone an octagon and then saying that's the shape of a stop sign.
My favorite video I've ever seen on like content recently is those guys who went around to a Trump rally and asking them, would Donald Trump need if Jesus Christ rose in Bethlehem today, would he need a card to come into the United States? And it's like, you guys are white Christian nationalists who believe Jesus Christ should be the set religion in the United States, who have a religious department who can crucify you and put you in jail for speaking bad about Jesus Christ. And you're going to sit here and tell me, and I asked this question on a live on TikTok probably about a couple weeks ago, and the dude literally said, yes, Jesus Christ needs a green card. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I heard another one, a similar response. They asked him, do you think Jesus... They said as long as he came here legally was their response. I'm like, oh,
yeah, but they also hate. Look,
I'm sure Jesus is so happy to hear that he can't come here without a green card.
I'm not a religious person. Be religious. I don't care. Just be nice to each other. But like the idea that the Christian fascists in this country, in their sermons on Sunday, are openly talking about how Jesus was too woke and how being nice to people is too woke.
Yeah,
you fucked up. You missed the point. You fucked up.
You lost the
plot. What are you doing?
All right, so we have we're actually over time, but I want to just a couple more minutes though, because I wanted to talk about the reason you're on TMZ, and I just happened to have this clip loaded up before you even hopped on the show, because you made a video regarding Cory Booker's historic speech, his filibuster, 25 freaking hours. I learned afterwards he didn't even use the bathroom.
No, he didn't either use the bathroom.
Yeah, or eat.
Yeah, that's insane.
Meanwhile, the previous record holder, that racist scumbag, took a couple of breaks here and there, and he was reading from encyclopedias. Cory Booker, you could look into his politics all you want. You could judge on yourself. That's fine. But he did something amazing, and he kicked a fucking racist off a pedestal he never should have had. And for that, we need to be proud.
He beat the guy was combating the 1957 Civil Rights Act.
Yep.
Right.
Strong
fighting against it. Yeah. So let me play this clip, and then I should have had. If I would have known this, I would have. Yeah. If I'd have known that, I would have actually loaded up the clip of you talking about this. I didn't know we were going to be. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that's why you were on TMZ. So here you go.
And now it's our generation. We have to redeem the dream. We have to excite people again. He, in the highest office of our land, wants to divide us against ourselves, wants to make us afraid, wants to make us fear so much that we're willing to violate people's fundamental rights. We're willing to go after the speech on college campuses. We're willing to go after law firms, go after the freedom of the press. Don't let him do that. Don't become like him. Be an American that says, I look to the future and I'm excited. Yes, things are tough right now. They're hard, they're scary, they're hurting, but we can overcome this. Our American history, if it's nothing else, American history, if it's nothing else, it is a perpetual testimony to the achievement of impossible things against impossible odds. We are a nation that is great not because of the people that are trying to whitewash our history. To remove great people, Native Americans, black people, and women from our military websites. I don't want a Disneyfication of our history.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I don't think anybody watched the whole thing, but what was, because I know you were checking in on it and making videos about it. What was your reaction to, like, what did you think when he initially went out there to speak? Because I remember seeing him say, "I'm going to speak until I no longer can." I don't think, honestly, I even realized what that meant until 25 hours later.
I will say what's something that's very memorable about that, and like I said on TMZ, is somebody didn't even get to fit in because I only had 30 seconds, was the fact that he stood up there and did that in the same time period that Donald Trump and the Trump administration were targeting the African American Museum in DC and trying to eliminate a lot of anti-white rhetoric. Meaning, I actually went to the museum a week before. They said that they wanted the museum to start pulling things. An example of some like anti-white rhetoric is there's in the bottom floor there's a log cabin that's built, and it's basically talking about a slave boy who lived there, who fought for his own freedom, fought in the Revolutionary War, and then earned his freedom and was able to buy his family a cabin. But they want to eliminate shit like that because it lets white people feel degrading. So to hear Cory Booker being the first African-American politician or senator from New Jersey talk about this, then to beat a man who was literally against the Civil Rights Act of 1957, which would have allowed simple black people going to school with white kids, you know, simple basic rights. It's just like, it really sinks into the fact that that wasn't that long ago.
No,
you know
we bring that up all the time. Like Ruby Bridges is still alive doing activist work. Okay, like this shit wasn't that, like, it's not that long ago that the dogs that they sicked on black protesters in Selma, Alabama, like, they might still be alive. All right, I'm trying to make a joke, but my point is that none of this is so long ago that we all don't have people in our lives who are related to people who were there or who were there themselves.
Well, Rosa Parks died in what, like 08?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I don't know. I just...
And honestly, going to the American History Museum, Smithsonian, Air and Space Museum, all that, like, that was one of my core memories as a kid. And Mike and I are trying to actually go to DC for that veterans protest at the end of the month, if we can raise the money. And one of the things I wanted to do before they completely destroy it and take away part of my childhood was go through all that again. I don't know if we'll be able to do it or not. Hopefully we will be able to. So, but yeah, historic moments all around between the protest. Last reporting was over 5 million people shelled out nationwide.
That's insane.
Which is a lot. And MAGA is in disbelief. They just don't understand. Why are so many people against Donald Trump? I don't get it.
Look, I've said this, my wife and I talk about this all the time. We live in Long Island, and it is surprisingly intensely MAGA country out here. And for a long time, it's been everyone's fucking house has had the MAGA shit up. There still are a couple of holdouts that are just too deep into the cult, but the overall amount of Trump stuff has diminished because it's happening. It's happening.
I'm so glad you said that. From the first Trump administration until now, how many flags have just disappeared?
A lot.
How many people stickers? You can see the little outline.
Yes.
Because you know it's them, and you know what the sticker was, and they had that little like.
How about this?
Yeah.
We have a lot of the trucks. Like Long Island has a high percentage of people with pickup trucks, which is fascinating because no one on Long Island needs a fucking pickup truck. But you're seeing a lot of them that have the two flag poles, and one of them now is either just the "Don't Tread on Me" or just the American flag. But the other one, they haven't purchased a new flag yet, so it's an empty flagpole driving around.
Man, yeah, it's definitely. I definitely have noticed that. I've actually noticed that for quite a while, not just recently. It's been.
That's a good point. Jeez.
Yeah, a lot of people are trying. We remember who you are, though. Our neighbors that had the Trump flags and all that shit. We remember who you motherfuckers are just because you took the Trump flag down. You know what I mean? We know some of y'all are in our protests now. You know what I mean? First, you're like, the left is bad, and now you're right there next to us like, I didn't vote for him.
As much as I want to tell them,
but it's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? Right.
If they're willing at any point to take a stand, we don't get to pick and choose which support we accept. Yeah, we could have conversations, some existential fucking topics about what took you too long to get here, what motivated you to finally turn on Trump. And I'm sure a lot of those answers would piss all three of us off because they might not be as pure as we would want. They might not be the racism was too much, the anti-woman was too much. It might just be that he finally took their 401ks. But you know what? At this point, we need all the fucking help we can get. And if people are going to start showing up in the numbers that we saw yesterday, and it's just going to get bigger, I'll take whoever's willing to march.
I agree. Some things are unforgivable, but right now we need to unite. We do have to. I think, again, I always talk about this: unite people that didn't vote and the people that didn't vote for Trump. If we have MAGAs that now want to pretend like they're against, they were against all this the whole time, whatever. But we need to make sure people that haven't voted and aren't into politics like the three of us know what the fuck is going on and what's about to happen and what to expect, because they're looking at their investment in their 401ks going, what the hell is going on? But Daimann, thanks for coming on the show.
Yes.
I had a really good time, man. I really enjoyed your story.
You are more than welcome anytime you want.
Absolutely,
and we'll be inviting you back for sure.
You have got to start your own podcast. You were
yeah,
seriously,
no,
though,
dude,
you really
seriously.
do. If you ever need any help setting it up and getting used to all like the platforms and whatnot, let me know if you're not familiar with them. I'd be more than happy to help you out and get started.
No, I appreciate you guys.
So we're gonna leave on a please come back anytime you want. Also, we're not gonna leave on a grim note today, so we're not gonna talk about the whole Insurrection Act thing because it may or may not happen. Hopefully, with all the pushback, a lot of Republicans jump ship. Hopefully, a lot of rich people lose a lot of money and jump ship, and it doesn't happen, okay? So we're not going to talk about that, but I do want to leave on one final clip, and then we're done, and that is Kamala Harris finally coming out and speaking out against all of this. And like she says at the end of the video, she warned us. She told us that.
They didn't want the black Indian lady.
Unfortunately. Things could have been so much better, but have a good rest of your day, everybody. Daimann, thanks again. Look forward to seeing some more of your videos here in the near future. So other than that, have a good rest of your day, everybody. And like always, we'll talk to you soon.
There is a sense of fear that has been taking hold in our country. And I understand it. But we're saying people stay quiet. We are seeing organizations stay quiet. We are seeing those who are capitulating to clearly unconstitutional threats. And these are the things that we are witnessing each day in these last few months in our country. And it understandably creates a great sense of fear. Because, there were many things that we knew would happen. Many things. I'm not here, so I told you so.